can have this to save for everybody else. I know that obviously, Diana, you're new to the team. I'm Stephanie's coach. I used to be a full-time nurse anesthetist. I'm going to do a quick story of mine. And I got started about 7 years ago with Beachbody, and I just fell in love with the products. I got amazing results with Insanity. People started noticing and asking me what I was doing. I was already referring them to Beachbody to buy the products. So I thought, I might as well become a coach and help them get better results and also earn an income. And so I signed up as a coach. I didn't really understand. I didn't know that it was multi-level marketing. I didn't understand what it was all about. I just knew I was already selling them. So I was like, why not? And then after I went to like my first live event and got to really understand what like a Super Saturday, I was like, oh, okay, I get it. And then I decided to put more effort and energy and attention into it. And what really changed my business for me, honestly, was going to Summit my first year, because I got to see, everybody's success. And I got to see like these people are just like me and they're having this amazing success, and I can do that too. So that really changed my business for me. So I highly recommend to anyone that's on the fence about Summit, if you really want to build this business, it's a game changer. And the sooner you can get there, the sooner you're going to be able to build your business stronger, I believe. And then, throughout the years there's been ups and downs, and I built it to 6 figures, and now it isn't 6 figures. So it's been kind of like, and it's just because I stopped putting as much energy into it because I was getting burned out. So I kind of had to revamp the way I was doing things. So I'm still here. And the cool thing is that, everyone can go through their ups and downs and they can still succeed. And, I didn't hit Success Club for my first 6 months as a coach, and I still am here, and I still built it to a 6-figure income. And it's, it's gone backwards, and I'm confident that I'll build it again. So, welcome. Congratulations on becoming a coach. I don't want today to be something that I do to talk at you. I want it to be interactive. I've been reading, I'm getting there. I know I've been reading this book forever, but I freaking love it. It's like the Bible of how to build a business. It's just really speaking to me because it's talking about burnout. It's talking about high performance habits and the people that succeed more over the long term, and what sets them apart from the people that burn out or don't succeed. And some of the things I'm lacking and some of the things I have, but the stories that he's telling of the people and how they're burning out, I'm like, I can just relate to it. Like I can jump into that story. So I've been reading the chapter on becoming an influencer, and it's like how to influence people. I'm not sure if that's what it's called, but anyway, it's been really inspiring to me, I guess, because of the point where I'm at in my business and kind of like starting over again. And I feel like I'm doing this again side by side with every single one of you, like that I'm starting again from day one. Like I'm a brand new coach, because a lot of things have changed since I built the business the first time. And a lot of people that are coming on as new coaches have a set of fresh eyes, and they can offer me a perspective that I can't see. So it's like opening me up to new ideas and to creative flow. So I want to do an activity. So grab a piece of paper, grab a pencil, pen, whatever. I want this to be fun, and I want us to share. I don't want it to be like me talking at you for an hour. So I think it's going to be helpful. This is something that I like about this book. At the end of every chapter, he has like these performance prompts and these activities that you do. So it's interactive, and I've done every single one. And normally I'm the type of person that I just want to get through the book and I don't do the activities. I'm like, fuck that. I'm not going to take my time. But because I love this book and I really want to get better and improve as a leader, I've been doing the activities. This one really spoke to me, so I hope it's going to be helpful for you. And it's all about how we influence people, because that's what we're doing. We're leaders, right? We're influencers. We are leading people to live a healthier lifestyle. We're leading people to be consistent in building their business and become influencers in their lives. So he has this thing called the ultimate influence model. And he has you do this activity where you think about someone who influenced you in your life. Think of 2 people that have influenced you the most in your life, whether it's a parent or a teacher or whatever the case may be. And when you think about that, think about, why were they so influential to you? That's the first question to ask yourself. What was the greatest lesson they taught you? That's the second question. And what values or traits did they inspire you to embody? That's the third question. So let's take a minute. Did you get them? Need me to repeat? Okay, I'll go through it one more time. Actually, I can put it in the chat if you want. What made them influential to you? What was the greatest lesson they taught you? I'm going to put it in the chat too. And third is, what values did they inspire you to embody in your life? And we'll take like 5 minutes if you want to and do the activity, and then we'll discuss.
Oh my God, I'm super excited right now. Can I share something real quick? I'm done. So I did my homework. So I'm just waiting. But I have a brand new coach who just signed somebody up just now. She's like, not sure if she like wants to give all the time to the business, but she had somebody interested. And I was like, well, you signed up and I know you want to help people. So she gave it a shot and somebody's enrolling with the 245 package right now, one of her friends.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize I was muted. I said, awesome, congratulations to everyone who's involved.
So
Thank you for sharing.
super excited. I'm gonna definitely, she wasn't planning on like coaching, like working it, but it just kind of happened. So I'm obviously gonna be asking her. I know she's going on a mission trip, so like this week might not be the perfect time to jump in full, but hopefully she'll be on calls in the future.
Cool. Well, hopefully she will. How's everybody doing? Need a few minutes still or good? Thumbs up, good?
I also
Okay.
major props to Wendy real quick while we're waiting. Sorry. But Wendy was on my team call earlier this week, and she has taken what she's learning from team calls and she is applying. Wendy, your posts this week have been, oh my gosh, amazing. I absolutely loved your post about cleaning floors. The picture was so freaking cute. Your personality shined through and people were commenting. Freaking love that you are like really taking in all of this and you're applying it, and it's going to do wonders for you. So I just wanted to acknowledge that.
Congratulations. Good job. Clap, clap, clap. All right. Okay, so who wants to share? Who wants to share their people and the things that they wrote down?
I can.
Okay. Diana?
So I chose both my parents, my mom and dad. The first reason for my mom, she came from nothing. Her family really struggled, and my grandfather struggled from alcoholism. So that was like his main priority, unfortunately, over taking care of family and that type of thing, because it is a disease. So she really had to work hard as a really young person. And she, instead of taking it as a struggle, she grew on it and is hard worker. She has her own business, which is doing amazing. And she has always taught me never stop learning and always room for improvement, and to build yourself up. Even if you're going through a struggle, to don't give up, just keep on working at it. And then my dad, he's a hard worker, always loves helping others. And you can overcome anything. Bless you. And he just recently overcame brain cancer. And they said that he didn't have great expectations from it because of where it was located. So he had to rebuild speech. He had to rebuild his memory. He had to redo things that you kind of take for granted every day. And so he just worked really hard at it with the help of family. And it just showed me, like, don't give up, because you can always redo something that you may have failed at prior, or something that was taken away from you without your, like, you didn't want to give it up yourself, but you kind of had to get to a spot in your life. And don't let your struggles defeat you. So that was what I had.
I was saying, awesome. I love it. They sound like such influential parents. Like you're blessed that you had that, that they lifted you up and that they didn't. I think that people can experience jealousy, like moms and dads, or especially moms can sometimes be jealous of their daughters, I think. And instead of like wanting to lift them up, they like are a crab in the bucket and they're pulling them down. I mean, it's not on purpose. It's subconscious. It's not like, they're not like, I'm going to pull my daughter down, but somehow they feel, I've experienced that in my life. So obviously it's nobody, it's not their fault. They probably had parents that did it to them and they just carried on the pattern. So I always, when I hear that people had a family of parents that were like strong and led them with a good example, it's kind of inspiring to me. And it makes me like happy for that person that they had such a positive environment, because I feel like it makes you better at doing life, because you're not like beating the shit out of yourself like your parents used to do to you. So good for you. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing. Does anybody
Thank
else
you.
want to share? If not, we can. Okay. Yeah. Steph.
So I first said my dad. I am like a spitting image of my dad in all ways. He has a passion for sales. I have a passion for sales. Both of my parents are very hard workers. And I actually always wondered what the hell happened to me, because I was not. I was like, why don't I ever care about getting promoted or doing anything? Like, I just want to do the bare minimum. But what I've realized is I just wasn't placed in the right environment to really grow my personal passions. And my dad, with his passions, they do come first. I mean, he, first and foremost, he works really freaking hard. His fitness always came first. And so I definitely take after him with that. And my parents have just always instilled this very hard work ethic. My brothers took to it quicker than I did. My other section, I said, really, I feel it's different people at different times that inspire us, and people just coming into our lives at the right moment. Like I met somebody on the Success Club trip and something just clicked. Although we hear it all the time, like nobody wants to hear your excuses, blah, 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 blah. And she just put out this like energy and was talking about the business and where she's going.
Was
And
that
just,
your girl crush?
yes, it was. And
Okay.
she just like she was talking about the business and yes, I'm high retail. And she's like, great, good for you. And Marissa, obviously you've said this to me multiple times. And she was like, I don't need high retail. I need like 5 of me. And, you know, and just, she was talking and in my mind, I wanted to be like, but, and like give all my excuses. And I was like, wow, she could give a rip what I have to say because she just, she's going to be like, shut up. I don't care. Like, stop. And it just clicked with me, like that energy that she put out, and I shut it down. I never once said any of my excuses to her. I just shut it down because I knew she didn't care. And I don't know. So it's like, you know, she has definitely had a positive influence. I look at her page, I see how she's posting. I changed my post and I already have enrolled, you know, new coaches on the team. I mean, Diana's one of them. And then I have Fabiola, who reached out on a post that I switched in my mind after being around Yolanda. And then now we have Fabiola, who is gunning just like Diana. It's like everything I give to them, they're like, done, what's next? How can I learn more? And it's just really awesome to have that switch. So I think different people at different stages, but you have to be there. You have to be open to it. You know, just like with personal development. I know, Marissa, you've shared personal development with me that I like batted off and I was like a shield and nothing you said could get to me because it wasn't the right time. But, you know, as I've grown and you might say the same thing at this time, I would be like, okay, I'm open to that. And so I think it's different people at different stages.
I was going to say, before you even said like the last part of it, is that you've kind of slowly been becoming more open to being a building coach, like a team building coach, I feel, just based upon your responses with me. So all the times that I said that to you wasn't wasteful, because you know why? If I had never said any of that to you, maybe you would have showed up with this girl and you would have given her all of your excuses. But you finally were like, you know what? I've heard this a million times. I've given excuses. Maybe I should just listen. Like, so it all like prepped you. Sometimes we have to hear things 50 to 100 times. I mean, before we get the information. And that's why like repeating, I mean, the business is not that complicated. Yes, it's a lot of work. There's a lot of factors that go into it. It's a lot of energy. I'm not saying that it doesn't take time, but it's not that complex. It's not like you can't figure it out. It's just when we start to get in our heads and be like making it such a challenge, that's when it becomes difficult to figure out, because we're making a monster out of a molehill. Did I just freeze or no? Okay. All right. Thank you guys for sharing. So let me talk about now what he said in the book, which I love it, is that the ultimate influence model is usually the people that have influenced us based on 3 particular categories. And we're going to do some more activities. Number 1, they've shaped how we think about ourselves, others, and the world. And I can put these notes, you guys, if you want them, so you don't have to like be, you know, vigorously writing things down. I'll put them over here in the little chat. Okay, so they shaped how we think about ourselves, others, and the world. They've challenged us to develop our character, connections, and contributions. And they're a role model with values we wish to embody. So now we're going to flip the script and we're going to think about your influencers and how they influenced you, because that's how you are going to want to show up for your people. Okay, so think about how they influenced you and then put yourself in the position of, now you need to be that person for other people. The reason it worked so well for you is for whatever reason, they connected with your personality and they were able to have that impact on you, whereas someone else wasn't. And someone else could have been, like Stephanie said, saying the exact same thing and not having the influence just because of whatever the connection that you had, it wasn't creating that positivity, versus someone else says it in a different way, in a different relationship, and you get it. So think about that. Think about how they influence you. Now that's going to be you. So now we're going to go to your questions of. Think of someone that you want to influence. We're going to do an activity and then you can share. And it could be someone that's on your team currently. It could be a challenger. It could be someone that you want to be on your team or you want to be a challenger. Now think about, how can you shape their thinking These are just things you can think about. You can write them down. It's up to you. I'm putting them all in the thread. And what do you want them to do? I'm going to ask you some more questions. How do you want them to think about themselves? How do you want them to think about other people? And how do you want them to think about the world at large? They're all in the thread on the sides. You can write them down, whatever you want. And here's some performance prompts you can use if you want. Someone in my life I would like to influence more is. The way I would like to influence them is. If I could tell them how to think of themselves, I would say. If I could tell them how to think of others, I would say. If I could tell them how they should think of the world in general, I would say. These are all like the activities that we did for this chapter. And now I'll give you a few minutes and be quiet.
Trying to figure out my volume. Good morning. Can't hear you.
Oh, hey, we're doing an exercise. That's why it's quiet. Hi, how are you?
Hi.
All right. Does everybody feel good about got done? We done? Okay. All right, cool. So let's take a minute now to who wants to share. Hopefully we can hear from some different people. Not because I don't want to hear from you guys again, but just to kind of get some diversification of people sharing.
Okay, go ahead.
All right.
Okay. I think wasn't really thinking of like one person in general because I kind of feel like I like to treat everybody the same. That's one of my habits is like, repetition and things like that. So the way I would like to influence people is through basically consistency, a repetition of a message or an action. I'm just like that way. I know that over time, like what you said about Stephanie is that, it's just sometimes it takes the same, like, similar conversations or similar actions over and over before you can get through to people. I've experienced that on my teams at work and other things. So I know that works. It's kind of like I can be in it for the long run to influence people because of my consistency. So that's how I like to influence people. If I could tell them what they should think of themselves or what they should say to themselves, I would say that everybody's capable of doing things, anything they want to, that you have the power to do it. You have the power to overcome challenges, and that along the way, you have to celebrate the small successes in yourself. So that's what can keep you going. And when you feel down or you feel like you're hitting a brick wall, that you look at the things that you did accomplish in that last 5 minutes, the things you thought can be a success, the things you did can be a success, it doesn't have to be like hitting your milestone or not hitting your milestone. You can look at the joys and the things that you did right along the journey. And then I would say, if I could tell them how they should think of other people, kind of the same thing. I mean, you have to be nice to yourself. I think that you also need to, usually it's probably easier for people to be nicer to others than it is to themselves. But for looking at the world, you should look at the world, I think, with, opportunity, with grace and compassion and empathy. I think empathy goes a long way. Put yourself in other people's shoes. So that's what I had.
Thank you. I love it. And that does embody who I feel like you are. So it is consistent with like how I know you. So I mean, at least from what I've seen. So you are embodying what you want to embody. You're emulating the influencer you want to be, I think, because you've done it for me.
Yeah, thank you.
Anybody else want to share?
I can go. Did somebody else want to go? Okay, so the way I would like to influence people, I really didn't answer that one very good. I do like what Jonna said about, over time. I do like to use I just think of like my social media. I'm a dramatic person. I like to use more dramatic, like story, ways like that. So if I could tell someone how to think of themselves, I would tell them that they have a voice. They have thoughts and ideas that the world needs to hear. If I could tell them how to think of others, I would say be patient, love and respect where each person is, and always seek to understand. And then how to think of the world, just something that's resonating with me these days. I used to be in such a lack mindset. You turn on the news, you're always feeling like there's not enough. And so for them, how to look at the world, there is no lack. There is so much abundance and there's so much out there, and to live in that. So kind of on the same terms as what Jonna said as well, like there's just so much opportunity that's available to you. So those are some of the things I had.
Thank you for sharing. I'm so glad that your abundance mindset is setting in. And you know what, that's probably why you created that experience with that girl that was your friend that just to go back like several calls that left and went to another coach is just to show you, to bring more awareness to your mind that you were still living in that mentality, and so that you could shift it. So I'm glad that you are, now moving forward and creating something different. So thank you for sharing. Christine wanted to share, I think.
Good morning. So I actually thought of a very close friend of mine. She is about 300 pounds.
1 second.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to introduce, before you talk, I want to hear what you had to say, but Sabrina, Christine, you both have fibromyalgia.
Okay.
Did you know that?
No.
So I wanted to introduce the two of you because Sabrina's on the call, and I don't think I've ever been on the call with the two of you. So I wanted you guys to meet each other. I thought maybe you could even like connect and see if there's a way for you to figure out like your messaging around that, or like what kind of ideal avatar you want to attract. But I just thought it would be good, like a good support system for you two to be connected with one another. Sabrina?
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I had to unmute myself. Yeah, I think that would be awesome. This is something that a lot of people have, and especially being able to talk to somebody else that has it and it has the same experiences and understands how somebody with fibromyalgia, their body, affects it, everything affects it differently. Yeah, that would be awesome.
I agree.
So I can connect the two of you if you want, like, or just tag you in the team page, or you can find each other in the team page. But I just wanted to introduce you guys real quick so you could connect.
Sounds
that's awesome. Thank you.
All right, now go back to the beginning, please, because I interrupted you. So go ahead.
So I thought of a really, really close friend of mine. She has diabetes. She's just shy of 300 pounds. She is presently struggling a lot with her blood sugars, and they're all over the place. Like, she can't even sleep longer than 2 hours at night. And we've been friends forever. And she just, my heart kind of breaks for her in the sense that she doesn't really value herself enough to really work on herself. So, how do I think, or how I want to influence her is, I don't think I'm doing it right, because it's how I am doing it is just like with love and with truth, and just supporting her through her struggles without judgment. But also, when I feel there's an opening to talk about like nutrition and fitness and all that other stuff, I take it. But I wish for her that she would basically care enough for herself to value her health. And I know you can't ever make anybody want to do anything. Like, I raised 4 kids. I'm very aware that you can bring a horse to water, you can drown them, but you can't make them drink. Like, I totally get that. And how I would like her to think about herself is to view herself as worthy to do the time and the effort to better herself personally. She does that like in her job. She really advances well, and she does all this great stuff. But when it comes to her personally, yeah, not so much. And for others, that others can be safe, and how to use healthy boundaries, and to not be kind of in the world. It's just for her to be a part of the world instead of like keeping everybody at an unhealthy distance, if that makes any sense.
Oh, did you have more to share? I don't want to interrupt you.
Well, I was just thinking, because like those are all things that I have grown and received with my journey. What's that grin for?
All right. Okay. So do you have more to share? Because
No, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. I'm going to give it to you straight.
Good.
I like everything you shared, and I understand how you want to influence her and you want to be this positive impact because you've experienced this transformation and you want to be that. You want to embody that so she can emulate you. But my question to you is, what if, I'm just going to make a scenario in my mind, she never in the rest of her life ever wants to do it? What if she just never has the desire or the drive to do it? How is that going to change you?
How is it going to change me?
How are you going to handle that?
The same way that I've been handling it forever, is just kind of love her through it. Like, just be there.
Okay.
Like, I wouldn't love her less.
I wouldn't think you would, but I feel what I felt when you said you're not doing it right is you have this belief about yourself that you need to be the one that helps her. And that's about attachment and control. I'm just versus like really like being able to, you need to like detach yourself because you can't, like you said, control her. You can't lead, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. She might never be ready to have the transformation that you've had. And if you continue to feel that you're not doing it correctly and that's why you're not getting the results with her, then you're making it about you instead of making it about her. And I don't mean just within that relationship. I mean within every single relationship in your life. Like you're you, they're them. You can only show up and love people. Oh, did it freeze? Damn it.
Got from is that Marissa, I think what she's hearing is like, oh, I'm doing something wrong. Like she's not wanting to change. Like, what am I doing wrong? And that might have you feeling like, well, if I can't even help her who desperately needs it, how can I help the next person? But that's not the case. She's just not ready. She may never be ready. That has zero to do with you as a coach. That is all her. And we just got to keep moving on and finding the people that are ready.
Right.
That's why I talk to so many people because people are ready at different stages.
And it's not even about anyone being ready. It's about, this is your really good friend and you care about her and you love her. I mean, my mother, you know, she's never going to do Beachbody, but I wish she would stop being a diabetic. I wish she would take better care of herself, and she doesn't. But at the end of the day, if I were to think that my self-esteem and like my confidence comes from me helping her and leading her, then you're going to have this belief system that you're not doing it right. And that's going to show up in the rest of your life. So you have to release yourself from that belief that you're not doing it right. It's just, she is who she is. She's showing up this way. She's not ready. She might never be ready. So like, let go of that belief about yourself is my point, because that's going to show up in other relationships too. And that's only going to be harmful for you. Does that make sense?
I'm just taking notes. That's why I look down. Yeah.
I know, but does that make sense?
Yes, it does. And it's 100% accurate. Like I totally, now that it's said, I'm like, oh yeah, I see that connection and totally right. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And where else in your life are you thinking that you're not doing it right? Oh, come on, don't do this to me. Damn it, come on.
Probably all of it.
All of it?
Yeah, I'd say.
So everywhere in your life you think you're not doing it right?
Or I could do stuff better, or yeah, pretty much.
Have you ever read Girl Wash Your
You
Face?
bet.
That one, I was in your shoes. I felt that way. That was actually my first personal development book that I just finished, because like so many others, I felt like, oh, I don't need the personal development. I'm fine. I don't need that. And then I decided to take the plunge, and I decided that I was going to. And that book, and I bought the actual book because I want to go back and read it again. But I really took a lot out of that book about not believing the, like she talks about the lies of who you think you are and who you actually are. Um, I have spent a lot of my life beating myself up about things that I've done in the past, about things that I do on a daily basis, or that I have done on a daily basis, and how can I do that better? Why am I not good enough? But after reading that and actually taking those principles and starting to apply them to my everyday life and stopping and remembering that, hey, I'm telling myself this lie. This isn't who I am. This is who I'm telling myself I am. I really feel like, and Marissa might be able to confirm this, but I really feel like I have come a long way in the last 4 months since starting to read personal development and after reading that book. Like I'm more positive about myself. I feel better about myself. I feel better about the people around me. I'm less worried about what they think, and I'm focusing more on how to be more positive to myself, because I feel like that is something that I've had a really hard time with my entire life. And I have to, Marissa has talked about self-love. I have to love myself first. And that's something that that book really, really helped me.
Thanks. I will definitely reread that with, fresh eyes. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing, Sabrina.
You're welcome.
I've seen it in your posts. I've seen your confidence, and it's truly like so inspiring because I know how hard it's been for you. And I'm so happy for you. Thank you for sharing. Now I wanted to ask you guys, like, since we're on personal development, who's actually doing personal development? Okay. All right, good. I mean, you could not raise your hand if you weren't. That'd be fine. But I was gonna say, like, who's using a Beachbody workout program? Who's doing it consistently? Following a nutritional plan? I'm not. I just can't. Using some type of supplements from Beachbody on a regular? Okay. Okay, so now we've talked about the person that influenced you, who you want to influence, and how you want to influence them. Now I'm going to challenge you guys, because this team is not, Marissa is the leader and we're all her like followers in her team. We're all leaders of this team. We're starting from the beginning again. There's been a time, Stephanie knows, where we had like 50 to 100 people on these calls. There isn't now. There's what, 7, 8 of us? Okay, so we're building from the ground up and we're doing this together. So what I want to ask you and to challenge you to think about is, when someone joins your challenge group and becomes a customer of yours, if you're doing it with another coach, say you're leading your group with another coach, which like Jonna and I are going to be doing it together, and Sabrina and I have, we're all going to be in our Facebook group together. How do you want people to experience that when they go into that group and they feel the energy of that group? How do you want them to experience it? How do you want them, like, what kind of feeling do you want them to get? What kind of culture do you want them to feel? Because that's what you need to bring to the table. And for me personally, I want them to think personal development is a big part of their journey. And I don't know if I was stressing that enough before. I think that's probably why Sabrina started doing it more. I started really focusing on the mindset stuff on my page, because that is truly, to me, what has been life-changing for me, the personal development. Going to seminars, going to summit, going to events. I've been to multiple personal development events all over the world because I had a desire to, 1, better myself, and to 2, succeed at leading and building this team. So what do you want them to feel? How do you want to influence them in that group? How do you want them to feel about your teammates? Because you're able to influence their feelings about all of it based upon how you say, what you share, how you show up. Are you stressing personal development in your groups? Are you stressing how they need to be, working out and using the programs and being consistent with their shakes or whatever it is that they're using? Are you stressing that they need to be interacting with their fellow teammates? Because those are all things that I set from the beginning. I tell them the magic is in the group. The magic happens when you engage, because you get support and accountability back. So think about that, number one. And number two, think about when you forget about the fact that you're a brand new coach, if you are, or whatever you're at in your journey, and think of yourself, you're me now. You're leading a team of people, and you're the leader that they're looking at, because that's what you are today, right here, right now. You're on this call, you are a leader. How do you want them to come into this call every week and experience it? How do you want them to come into the team page? What do you want them to feel in the team page? Do you want it to be me, the only girl that's posting, Marissa Myers, the Team Aloha leader, whatever, 6-figure, 2-time elite, 6-star diamond, whatever coach? Or do you want them to feel like every single person on that team cares about them and wants them to succeed? What do you want them to feel? Because how are you going to show up in that team page and on these calls? I'd like to make it like more collaborative, more cohesive. People step up and start posting, sharing what is working for you in the business. What worked for you well this week? Make a video, talk about it. I'm not the leader of this team. You are all leaders of this team. And when your coach joins our team page and jumps on these calls, they're going to be looking at you, and they're going to be looking at every single other person on this call. So now I'm challenging you to step up and become a leader. If you haven't thought of yourself as one, you are one, because you're here right now. How do you want to show up for those people? How do you want to show up for this team? What do you want them to experience? Start brainstorming on that, and then you have to grow into that person. You have to think about right now, if you had 10 coaches of your team on this call, how would you want them to experience this call? How would you, what is the feeling that you'd want? Because you need to start bringing that to the table for this team in order for us to grow into that. Does that make sense? Any feedback, questions, shares about that?
Yeah, I completely agree. And actually, you just kind of made me realize that I should probably invite my coaches to join this call. And even if they are, still, I kind of have discount coaches right now, I still think that there's potential there, because, it's just inevitable that they will get asked about things, what they're doing, and that they might as well, if they're willing to take the opportunity to get involved now, rather than later. So again, it can just kind of start to feel natural to them also when those opportunities can arise.
Exactly. And that's exactly what I want. Like, raise yourself up to the level of whatever it is. Show up as the person that you believe that you are, like that you want to be, the person that you want to embody. Like, because don't think about what it is right now, what your team is right now. Think about what your team is, a year in the future. And if you have hundreds of people, like, how do you want their experience to be? And then create that now. That's like the point of my messaging. Does that make sense? Okay. Because what that's going to do, I think, is if you start showing up as that person, you're going to create opportunities to be that person. If you think that you're this person who can't attract coaches or doesn't know how to support your challengers, or everybody ghosts or disappears, that's what you're going to keep creating. I know it because I've done it. I've been there a million times. So my point is, I just want everyone to like step up into their power and who they truly are and be that, so that they can attract what they like, the people that need them to be that. Any other shares or questions? And yes, I think that's a great idea, Donna, to invite your coaches to the call if they want to come. And you can put them in the team page if they want to, in Team Aloha Elite. But my point is, like, I want people to start like stepping up in the Team Aloha Elite. Yeah, I post things, I share whatever, I make little videos here and there, I do these team calls, but like, it's a team effort. The teams that I'm in another team page that has like hundreds of coaches, and you know why they succeed? Because not only the like top person is posting, everyone is sharing tips. You all have something valuable to share, whether you know it or not, that you could teach me or Stephanie or whoever, because you have a set of fresh eyes and you have a different personality, and you have different values, and you have a different way of teaching and impacting. But because you don't believe it yourself yet, you're not stepping up and doing any of that. But once you do, this team's going to grow exponentially.
For me, I always just thought, well, I'm not that. Oh God, sorry. I just thought, I'm not even an Emerald coach yet, or I'm not, as high. Like, who wants to hear from me? Although I am doing things, and I had the best month ever last in the end of March, and so I'm finding things working. I'm showing up more to work my business, and I just started inviting to the coaching opportunity. I did my first post yesterday, and I have 2 people interested. I was not expecting any interest. I was just going to start throwing that out there. But now I'm just like, you know what? I'm just going to start talking about it. And so I guess the reason why I don't speak up as much in these other things is because I just feel like, who wants to hear from me? I feel like I'm not even that much of a success, you know, but I am working at it every day, and I do find things that do work. Yes. Even though I might not be up there with everyone else.
But what about if you were an elite coach? How would an elite coach think about themselves?
More than I just think about myself right now. I know that's true.
So you have to start having the mindset, and they've told me this like I've heard this a million times before. Like, you have to have the mindset of the coach that you want to be. So don't think of yourself as, oh, I'm just a baby coach, I'm just an emerald, because I've seen people do amazing things that I never did in their first couple months, and I'm like, you could literally crush this if you believed in yourself. I'm going to share with you guys what I wrote, because I want you to hear why this inspired me so much. And it's just going to be really quick. Mine were very short, but think of the people you want to influence. I'm going to say I wrote my team, but specifically Jana and Sabrina, because they're kind of the coaches that are connected with me the most right now. And we're building this business together. And I wrote, how can I shape their thinking? I want to encourage them and lead by example. What do I want them to do? I want them to succeed at their businesses and be happy and stay connected with our team. How do you want them to think about themselves? I want them to see themselves as the firecracker that I see them as, that they can succeed at whatever it is that they want to succeed at. How do you want them to think about other people? I don't want them to feel like they are in competition with anyone. I want them to see others who are succeeding and get inspired by it. And that's what I want for everyone. I never want someone to look at someone's page and think they can't do that, or like be jealous, because I experienced that so many times. I competed, I compared myself, and it took away my joy so many times that I never want my team to feel like that. And I know it's hard not to do that, the comparison game. How do you want them to think about the world at large? I want them to see that the world needs them and their story, that their people need them to do this so they can have the chance of improving their life. Because I can't speak my story to the people that you can speak your story to. Like, Jana has a million friends that were all on Facebook, my friends, and they never enrolled with me as their coach, but she's their coach. But it doesn't make me feel bad. It's not a problem. It's that they connected with her and her story. She's their friend. She can have an impact on their life where I couldn't. And that's why each person is important, because you can impact the people that I cannot, that Sabrina cannot, that Stephanie cannot. We all have a story to tell, and it's going to connect with a certain person. So that's why we need to keep sharing it. So someone in my life I'd like to influence more, I already said, my team, specifically Donna and Sabrina. The way I'd like to influence them to think of themselves as leaders, and to think of other people as their neighbors, and to think of the world that it needs them. And if I could tell them how they should think of themselves, I would say as firecracker leaders. And if I could tell them how to think of other people, I would say as their neighbors who need compassion and help, not dollar signs. Because that's what I've always taught. Well, not always, but that's what I'm teaching now, is that people need us to change their life, not to use them to get a goal or to use them to make money. And if I could tell them how they should think of the world in general, I would say that the world needs them and their story to change it for the better. And that's what I think about every single one of you on this call, because it's the truth. It's the reality that your story is your own unique story, and it's going to connect with certain people. There is no competition, and your people need you. And that's why you need to keep showing up every day, because you can change their life. And that's why I have kept showing up every day, despite all the challenges, despite feeling like a failure so many times, and despite all my failures, because my people need me. That's why I show up. So I hope you will too. And I hope we'll start seeing more of you guys show up on the team page, and start seeing more of your team show up on these calls. I appreciate you taking the time to do the exercises that I suggested, and I appreciate every single one of you for sharing and being on this call. And let's just keep growing this team.
Awesome call today. That was great.
All right, ladies. Thank you so much. Anyone else have anything to share? All right. Have a great Saturday, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.